the best dividend stocks in the Kenyan stock market this year. Specifically, this is an updated list for the month of April. Welcome to this channel, the best place for you to learn and share about all things money. Specifically, in today's video, we're going to learn how we can make our money work for us, that is by investing in the stock market. If that sounds like something you are interested in, well, hit that like and subscribe button and let's get into today's video. Okay, all right, so the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to section this video into sections. That is, section 1, I am going to mention the companies that have already paid out their dividends, that is this year. And section 2, we are going to look at companies that have announced that they are going to issue dividends but have not yet paid out. If that sounds like something you are interested in, well, get your notebook and pen and let's get started. Okay, let's get started. So the first section of this video is companies that have already announced and paid out their dividends to their shareholders. But before that, in case you're new to the investing world, what is a dividend stocks? What is a dividend stock? That is what we are discussing today. A dividend stock is simply a company that is listed in the stock market and it usually shares part of its profits with its shareholders, that is investors. And yes, so that is simply a simple definition of what a dividend stock is. A company that is publicly listed on the stock market and usually shares part of its profits with shareholders, that is you and I. Let's get into companies that have already paid out their shares in the Kenyan stock market already in this year. Starting us off is none other than KenGen, which is a company that is listed in the energy sector. Now, KenGen paid its investors a dividend of 0.3 shillings per share, and that was in 15th Feb. Number 2 is none other than Umeme, which is also a company that is listed in the energy sector. Now, Umeme is not a Kenyan company, however, it is listed in the Kenyan stock market. Umeme paid out an interim dividend of 24 Ugandan shillings. That was in 29th Feb. And company number 3 is none other than Sasini, which is a company that is listed in the agricultural sector. Now, Sasini paid a final dividend of 0.5 shillings, that is last month, March 22nd. Finally, ending this list is none other than a very well-known company, one that over 90% of Kenyans use its products, and that is none other than Safaricom, which is listed in the communication sector in Kenya. Now, Safaricom paid an interim dividend of 0.55 shillings per share, and that was in March 31st. There we have it, the 4 companies that have already paid dividends to their shareholders this year, that is Safaricom, Umeme, Sasini, and KenGen. Let's go to the second section of this video, and that is companies that have announced that they will be giving their shareholders dividends this year. Let's get started. And one major trend that you will see is one sector that is outstanding, and that is the banking sector. That is, companies in the banking sector are giving dividends a lot. Okay, and the last company on this list, we have 14 companies, so stick around. Let's get started. So in this list, I will mention the company, which sector it is listed in, the dividend rate, the book closure, and the payment date, as well as if you own 100,000 shares of these companies, how much do you stand to get. So stick around for that. Let's get started. Starting us off is a company that is listed in the agricultural sector, and that is Limuru Tea. Limuru Tea issued a final dividend of 1 shilling per share. The book closure is 13th April 2024, and the payment date is 30th June 2024. As I've stated, it is listed in the agricultural sector. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Limuru Tea by the book closure date, how much do you stand to get? Well, you stand to get 100,000 Kenyan shillings. Yeah. Now, the second company on this list is none other than Standard Chartered Bank, which is, as the name suggests, it is listed in the banking sector. Now, Standard Chartered Bank issued a final dividend of 23 shillings per share, and the book closure is on 19th April 2024. The book closure is 19th April, and the payment date is 30th May 2024. Yes, the payment date is 30th May. So if you own 100,000 shares of Standard Chartered Bank, how much do you stand to get? Well, you stand to get 2.3 million Kenyan shillings. Now, the third company on this list is none other than I&M Bank, which issued a first and final dividend of 2.55 shillings per share. The book closure date is 18th April 2024, and the payment date is 24th March 2024. So if you own 100,000 shares of I&M Bank, you stand to go home with 255,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, the next company on this list is none other than Cooperative Bank, which issued a first and final dividend at a rate of 1.5 shillings per share. The book closure date is 29th April, and the payment date is 10th June. That is Cooperative Bank, 1.5 shillings per share. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Cooperative Bank, you stand to go home with 150,000 Kenyan shillings. And remember, this is passive income. That is, you invest. By the book closure date, you own these shares, and on the payment date, you get that amount per share. All right. Okay, number 5, I believe, is none other than NCBA, which is a company that is listed in the banking sector, which issued a final dividend of 3 shillings per share, and the book closure date is 30th April 2024, and the payment date is 29th May this year. So if you own 100,000 shares of NCBA, you stand to go home with 300,000 Kenyan shillings. That is, if you own these shares by the book closure date. Now, the 6th company is also a company that is listed in the banking sector, and that is Absa Bank, which issued a final dividend of 1.35 shillings per share, which the book closure date is 30th April 2024, this month as well, and the payment date is none other than 23rd May 2024. So note that the book closure date is 30th April and the payment date is 23rd May 2024. So if you own 100,000 shares of Absa, you stand to go home with 135,000 Kenyan shillings. Yes. Another company that has issued that has declared dividends this year is none other than VAT, which is a company that is listed in the manufacturing sector here in Kenya. Now, VAT issued a final dividend of 45 shillings per share, which their book closure date is 24th May 2024 and the payment date is 26th June 2024. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of VAT, you stand to go home with 4.5 million Kenyan shillings. That is as at 26th June this year. Now, there we have it. 7 companies that have already issued announced that they will be paying their shareholders dividends. If all of this sounds like, if all of this is new to you, well, I have good news for you. That is, we are going to have a financial literacy bootcamp where we will be discussing dividend stock investing for beginners. Yes, we will be discussing this terminology. When you hear when you hear people say a final dividend, an interim dividend, what does this mean? How can you create a wealth basket for yourself by investing in dividend stock? We are going to discuss this and much more during the financial literacy bootcamp, which will be happening from the 26th of this month to from 22nd to 26th of this month. You can find the registration details in the link attached right here. Right? Okay, now let's go back to the video. We were at number 7, the 7th company that has already announced that it will be sharing part of its profits with shareholders, that is people like you and I. And number 8, we have none other than Stanbic Holdings, which is another company that is listed in the banking sector. I know you have seen a trend whereby a majority of the companies are listed in the banking sector, and instead of just being a customer of a bank, you can be a shareholder. Therefore, you can partake in the profits that these banks make. Caution: not all companies listed issue dividends. That's something for you to note. Back to Stanbic Holdings. So Stanbic issued a final dividend of 14.2 shillings per share, and the book closure date is on 17th May 2024, and the payment date has not yet been approved, so you have time to decide whether Stanbic is a company worth investing in. So if you own 100,000 shares of Stanbic Bank by the book closure date, you stand to go home with 1.42 million shillings. Yeah, if you own 100,000 shares of Stanbic, you stand to go home with 1.42 billion shillings. And remember, this is passive income, therefore you can keep your day job and have your money, make money for you. Another company on this list, also in the banking sector, is none other than a very well-known company, bank, and that is Equity. Equity issued a first and final dividend of 4 shillings per share, which will be paid out on 28th June 2024. So the book closure date is 24th May 2024. So if you own 100,000 shares of Equity, you stand to go home with 400,000 Kenyan shillings. Yeah. Another company that is also listed in the banking sector and has announced that it will be sharing part of its profit with its shareholders is none other than DTB, which is another bank in Kenya. Now, DTB announced a first and final dividend. Yes, a first and final dividend of 6 shillings per share. The book closure date is also on 24th May of this year, and the payment date is also on 28th June of this year. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of DTB, you stand to go home with 600,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, yes, I believe we have finished with the companies listed in the banking sector. Yes, however, we are not done with our list. But before we go on, if you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly subscribe, because doing this will encourage me to create more videos just like this, or even better. So subscribe and sign up for the financial literacy bootcamp. Okay, all right. Another company that has announced that it will be sharing part of its profit with shareholders is none other than Kakuzi. Kakuzi, which is a company that is listed in the agriculture sector. Now, Kakuzi announced a first and final dividend of 24 shillings per share, and the book closure date is 31st May of this year, and the payment date is 15th June of this year. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Kakuzi, you stand to go home with 2.4 million shillings per share. And this is why we say the rich get richer, because they make their money work for them. Question is, are you making your money work for you now? Let me know in the comment section below. Another company that has issued or announced that it will be sharing part of its profit with shareholders is Umeme. As you can note, Umeme was in the first list. That is companies that have already paid out dividends this year to their shareholders, and that was an interim dividend, yes, which was paid out. However, Umeme announced that it will be giving its shareholders a dividend, another dividend, a final dividend of 1.84 shillings per share. Yes, 1.84 shillings per share, and the book closure date for this final dividend is 28th June 2024, and the payment date is 19th July 2024. So note that. And the second last company is the NSE. That is the NSE stock itself, which declared a first and final dividend of 0.16 shillings per share, and the book closure date is 30th May and the payment date is July 31st. Yes, so if you own 100,000 shares of NSE, that is the Nairobi Securities Exchange stock, you stand to go home with 16,000 Kenyan shillings. Yes, on that payment date, which will be in July 31st of this year. Yes, we are down to our last stock in this list for this video today, but before that, I'd like to remind you, sign up for our financial literacy bootcamp, whereby we will be discussing dividend stock investing for beginners, and also subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel. Now, the last stock on this list is none other than EABL, which announced that it will be giving its investors an interim dividend of 1 shilling per share. Now, EABL is listed in the manufacturing sector in the Kenyan stock market. Now, the book closure date for EABL was on 16th of Feb, and the payment date will be on 26th April 2024. There we have it. 14 companies, 14 dividend stocks that you should know about this month. Now let me know, are you a dividend stock investor? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for being here with me. Until the next video, make sure you watch any of these videos that YouTube thinks you will enjoy. So until next time, enjoy. Bye bye now.